Yo, and welcome to Atmos.
Shindal Yud.
That too. I'm Yaakov Yitzchak.
Yitzchak.
We have two Yaakov Yitzchaks here, basically.
Very good.
So, so remember, what are we learning about, basically? Hint. Here's the top. Yeah, remember what? This is from Parshas Va'era, a long time ago. In Rosh Chodesh Shvat from the year 5735, in the book of edited mimers, basically. Taurus Menachem. So you remember what we said until now?
No, I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Do you want me to summarize? Or
Yeah,
should we
let's do summary.
Alright, so he said that in the time of the Exodus from Egypt, Hashem says that I appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov with the name of Shindal Yud. But the name of Havaya he did not make known to them. You heard this?
It says that in Chumash.
Yeah, when they were gonna before the plague started, before the main plague started, Hashem was telling Moshe that the plagues are really coming through the name of Havaya, Hashem's four-letter name. But up until then, everything happened through the name Shindal Yud, basically. Then we had a whole thing about different levels of Havaya, but that was, I might get back to that. But the point is, it first talks about, after that it talks about, well, in the beginning it was pretty intense, because it said,
and then this English number is not such an important thing. So I mean, it's there for reference, but in the back here,
so it said in different places, like Rashi says on that verse, that the name of Havaya is Hashem's true Midah.
Okay, same page.
Like Midah, what does Midah mean?
It's I don't know, maybe we should draw it out.
Yeah, but maybe. Maybe it's probable. To the BH, because half of it, it's getting all blurry. Whatever. Okay, well, so this is kind of complicated because it keeps on getting blurry based on whatever happens. Alright, so it says the word Midah, duh. Okay, this is really annoying because it keeps on changing focus. Wow, that's brutal. Okay, whatever. Means limitation. It also means characteristic, but I'm not sure if I should write it. It means Midah,
it's measurement.
Measurement, yeah.
It's it's the definition of the thing. So it's
it's a definition.
It's the boundaries of it.
Exactly. When you define something, then you measure it. Like how we're defining definition.
Yeah. It's the Midah of Midah.
That's immediately. Alright, so it said that Rashi says that the name Havaya, the four-letter name Havaya, is Hashem's true Midah, which is true characteristic. It also means it's a true measure. It's a measurement.
It's the most accurate measurement of him.
Yeah.
It's more accurate than the other ones.
Yeah, then Shindal Yud. Then Shindal Yud is also an attribute, but the name Havaya is more, is a greater level.
But because Hashem is infinite, so he can be completely another name can be accurate, but on different names will have can be closer or further from his essence.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's more expressed, expressed in different names. So the name Shindal Yud, it says it says later in the Mimer, whatever that the name. So first of all, So the name Havaya says is a true attribute. It's greater than all the other names, which explains that throughout the Mimer. But then in the beginning, it just says that there's a level of Havaya. Well, that says it's still a measurement because it's still incomparable to Hashem's essence. It's still like a limitation. For Hashem to limit himself to the name of Havaya, the four-letter name, it's a limitation. So that's why it's a Mida also.
Right.
But then it says in another discourse that it says from another source that the revelation of Havaya that's going to be in the future is beyond measurement. So then, which one is it? Is Havaya beyond measurement or is it part of measurement? And it said that there's two levels of Havaya. There's two levels. Remember, it's the two levels of Havaya.
It's happening now.
It says, like one level is the revelation of Hashem's four-letter name that's nowadays before Mashiach comes, which is measurement. But after Mashiach comes, it's going to be the revelation of another high level of Havaya, which is infinitely greater.
Train's leaving now. 5 minutes. 5 minute dance party.
I thought it starts
You're
10:30.
planning to go for 5 minutes and
Huh?
end up saying more.
I thought it's 10:30.
You're planning to go for 5 minutes, you'll end up saying
But the
more.
point is
I thought it's
that
10:30.
all the miracles up until
Okay, we're going now.
the
Sorry.
Up until the plagues,
were
only from the name of Shindal. Yeah, because it said earlier that Shindal Yud is really the source of miracles. We said earlier that we implied. Okay, so we implied earlier that Shindal Yud was a revelation that happened beforehand in the beginning of creation. Shin, and then Dalid, and then Yud. Shin Dalid Yud. I'm not supposed to write it out, but just the abbreviations. Shin Dalid Yud. It says when the world is being created, there's two many meanings of Shin Dalid. So just like there's two levels of Havaya, it doesn't say it explicitly, but it implies like there's two levels of Havaya. There's also two levels of Shin Dalid Yud, which is a lower level. Remember what the first level of Shin Dalid Yud was? What was it?
Oh, we didn't say yet.
What we said like years ago. We said that when Hashem, it says like when Hashem was creating the world, remember it says that the sky was expanding outward, and then Hashem said that's enough.
Oh, right. Like Diana.
Yeah, Dainu is die is enough.
So Sha-ddai.
I mean that which is that. I mean that Shin is that like that he who said that which said, and then die which is enough. So that which the one who said enough. Meaning he told the sky, like, enough, stop expanding already. Which, I mean, that's like the simple meaning, but in the deeper meaning, it said later refers to the spiritual vessels. The sky refers to like the spiritual vessels, which is like the tools Hashem used to create the universes. That he said he told the vessels to limit the light. Because it said later in paragraph 5 here that that it says that the name Shindal Yud refers to the spiritual, the concept of vessels. Because remember, there's a concept of light and vessels. It says that heard the concept. Remember, we talked about like the creation itself comes from Hashem's light. Hashem's light is what makes the creation. But then, in order that the universe should be finite, Hashem's light is processed for the vessels. If that makes sense.
What does that have to do with Shindal Yud?
Because Shindal Yud refers to the vessels, according to one explanation.
Why? Like
because it says he said enough. He told when the sky was expanding outward, he said like enough, which means like the vessels are that which tell the light. Because the light itself, by nature, the light expands infinitely outward, meaning Hashem's infinite light would create the universe in a way that everything would be unlimited with no limitations. But the vessels are that which tell the light enough, which are that which limit the light in a finite measurement, such that it can create finite universes. And that's the level of Shindal Yud at the beginning of creation, which is the level of the vessels that limit the light. If that makes sense. Possibly. Maybe. No, maybe. Possibly.
But what's the difference between enough and the vessels?
That's no different. That's the same thing according to one explanation. According to this explanation.
But why would he be called Shindal Yud because of the?
Because he said enough to the light through the vessels. The vessels are that which say enough to the light, because the light is Hashem's infinite light, energy that would create everything infinitely. But then the vessels are that which tell the light enough and only say a certain amount. That makes sense.
Yeah. Nice.
But then there's a second level. So that's at the beginning of creation. But then remember the second level of Shindal Yud?
miracles or something.
Miracles, exactly. But when was it first revealed?
Basically, the idea is
It says it was by Avraham. It says,
they like
somewhere around here.
confirm, they,
Yeah, it says earlier, because it says in this verse itself, in the beginning, it says, I appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov with the name Shindal Yud, which implies, whatever. That doesn't imply, but it says the other verse where it says Hashem appeared to Avraham, it says, I am Shindal Yud, walk before me and be perfect. Remember that? So it says, but the fact that Hashem tells him then, like, I am Shindal Yud, implies that it's a new, that Shindal Yud is like a new thing that didn't exist before. It's like saying like a novelty, like, I am this new thing. And it said the whole thing about how it's a new revelation. By Avraham, it was a new revelation of Shindal Yud, a second level of Shindal Yud. So the first level is the vessels. Yes, it keeps on getting blurry, which is really brutal. I don't know how this is supposed to be. Brutal. Point is vessels, which is limitation. Yeah. Nice. Okay, hopefully it'll be okay one day. Part of the drama. Alright, nice. Point is the first level of Shindal Yud is the vessels, but then after Avraham came, there was a second revelation of Shindal Yud, which was created through the Milah, through the circumcision Avraham did. It says, drew down a new infinite revelation of infinite light that's totally beyond the universes, and that created a second explanation, a second level of Shindal Yud.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, we said it toward the end, briefly, but it said like that is this. So, yeah, it said at the end that through it says at the end of the paragraph 5 here, or this says page, it said that. Okay, can't even arrange it. It's like a novelty. It says that the revelation of Shindal Yud that was to Avraham is a new revelation that did not exist before this, even in a hidden way. Meaning it's not like something that was hidden and then revealed to Avraham. It was a completely new revelation. The second meaning of Shindal Yud was a totally new revelation that happened only to Avraham first. And then to what happened, and then extended to Yitzchak and Yaakov. It says, why is that? Because the creation of the world is in a limited way. Like through the light being enclosed in vessels that limit the light spreading out. Yeah, that's the first level. But it says, but then the second level of Shindal Yud is, it says that, so the first level is that Shindal Yud is that die, like he said, enough to the sky that it should expand. Remember the second, what was the second verse? It says, Rashi says it. It says that there's a die, that there's enough of elokusi l'chol beria. There's enough of my godliness to satisfy the needs of every creation.
Mm-hmm.
Remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. So that was a new revelation that was said by Avraham, which is like the opposite.
14 years after he passed away, so 12 years after the actual
right. So there's, on the one hand, there's a cutting off of an infinite thing.
Yeah.
And then on
vessels.
the other hand, there's an extension of a thing that's like making something ample, like more than one needs.
Exactly.
Like you said,
yeah, like there's enough to satisfy the need. Well, the needs of everything, but the needs could be even like very great needs.
Yeah.
Like he says, if someone was rich, then he became poor again. Then what was a lot?
Then he has to be restored to his riches have to be restored.
Yeah, and that's only considered taking care of his needs, not considered making him rich again.
Right. That's the basic requirement. But so the point is that the two levels of him being enough.
Yeah.
It's like it's one is an infinite. One is a cutting off of the infinite, and one is an extension of finite into the infinite.
Exactly, it's two extremes. Yeah, exactly. One is cutting off of the infinite, like I said, exactly, which is the vessels, which limit the light. Because the light by nature is infinite. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you have like.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, it will be eventually. Now it's
you have like more than the needs.
That's the second. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, this is like the second level. It's like needs, and then it's like your like needs are to here, and then it's more than it. But then on the other level, it's then like
I think it's like, yeah.
But
Yeah.
essentially the
Oh, like-
idea is there's a very powerful mimer.
You have like scissors where you're like cutting into like it's like that's like Daled Yud. That's like
Die. It's enough.
enough.
Yeah.
But then
Well, yeah, it's true. So the interesting thing said that needs. When it says needs, it says that even the second level is still not completely infinite because only Havaya is considered richness. So even the second level of Shem Yod is taking care of all of someone's needs, but the needs could be even like really great needs, but it's still only within someone's needs. But Havaya is even beyond one's needs. If that makes sense.
right, but like Havaya, Havaya is already like beyond one's needs.
Yeah.
Right.
But Shindal Yud, even the second level is extending it to meet all of the needs someone needs, even the greatest needs.
And sometimes somebody might even need to see like a revelation of godliness in order to believe in Hashem.
Exactly.
They would have to see a revelation.
Exactly.
Which is crazy because
Miracles. It says even at first it said that miracles that are enclothed in nature are from the name Shindal Yud, which miracles enclothed in nature. Remember what an example of that was? It's coming up in Adar. Starts with the poor, ends with an im. Yeah. Exactly. Remember that. Well, how is it a miracle that's enclothed in nature? It's for those who might not understand.
No, why?
Because it's like
because it happened through human means, through like
through natural means, but it was still a miracle because it's still a power, a light of Hashem that influenced the laws of nature to change in accordance with the light of Hashem, basically. So it's like a new revelation, which is like a miracle, but it still happened only through the means of nature. So it said that was what Shindal Yud, through Shindal Yud. But the miracles that are through Havaya are miracles beyond nature, like the plagues, for example, which makes sense because this was a revelation that happened when the plagues in Egypt happened, which are all miracles that are beyond nature, like blood, river turning to blood, etc. Everything, all the plagues are totally beyond nature.
But they were also like necessary
because it's a miracle.
Exactly.
Yeah, the miracle.
In order for both the Yidden to be brought out of Mitzrayim, but also so that they should believe in and see godliness revealed, so that they should believe.
Yeah, that's a good question. Did they believe it beforehand? That's a good question. Did the Jews believe in Hashem before?
It says in Davening, you say Yasha. On that day,
they believed in Hashem and Moshe, his servant, right? From after the splitting. Interesting. Well, yeah. So that's what it said earlier. That it said first. It said that the miracles from Havaya are beyond nature, and the revelations from Shindal Yud are miracles that are in nature. But then it said that, like the question that you're saying, that if Shindal Yud is filling the needs of everything, so it says even if someone needs to see. No. First, it said the reason why we say Shindal Yud are miracles enclothed in nature because someone might need to see a miracle in order to believe in Hashem. Basically, makes sense.
Yeah.
Without seeing a miracle, they might think the world runs itself. So by seeing, but then it said so. Therefore, the miracle, even Shindal Yud, since it takes care of the needs of every creation, it must have miracles. But then it said another thing that
it's like part of the like basic package of human needs.
Yeah.
Is not only do you have to be able to survive and live, but you have to like also believe. You have to also like have an understanding that that there's more to the world than just that God is real.
Yeah.
So it's part of that basic package that God gives us is also the miracles and the coincidences of life, like that everything works out in a miraculous way. That's like considered satisfying our needs.
Yeah, exactly. That's the basic needs. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then it says seemingly the richness, which is beyond Havaya, is like richness, which is beyond what we need. So it's like the miracles that are beyond nature, like splitting, like turning blood and water into blood. But then it said that the only true way for someone to really know in Hashem is through the miracles that are beyond nature. Because if miracles are in nature, even if it's like coincidences, someone might still make the mistake that it's part of nature. So then seemingly it said, seemingly this name Shindal Yud should also include miracles beyond nature. But if so, what's the difference between Shindal Yud and Havaya? Is where it said in the end of paragraph 4, basically, is the question. Like, what's the difference?
Right.
Time to do stuff like this. Like if I
So let's keep going.
Yeah, so it says, yeah, so that's what it left off at the end of paragraph 4, that seemingly both Shindal Yud should also include miracles beyond nature. But that's what the revelation that comes from Havaya, which is also miracles beyond nature. So what's the difference? Then it goes into this whole thing about saying that there's 3 levels here, basically 3, which is first level of Shindal Yud, just like abbreviated, which is the vessel, which is what?
Which is the enough, the limitations, the vessels.
Enough, yeah, exactly. Limited. Then it says, then a second level is of Shindal Yud, which is what? Is enough for what?
Enough for more than
Enough to fulfill, to satisfy
the needs.
Yeah.
Which is more than you might think.
Yeah, it's more than limitation. Okay. And then the third level is Havaya, which is like beyond even what we need. Brutal. Okay, this pencil is. Whatever, it's beyond what we need. So far, so good?
Yeah.
So it says in paragraph 5 that.
But the question is,
Yeah.
what's
the difference between these two if they both would include miracles beyond nature? Brutal. Okay, this handwriting is not even whatever. It's part of the fun. They both would include miracles beyond nature, seemingly. So then, what's the difference? So it said it starts as an introduction. It doesn't fully explain it, but it goes in the introduction to say in paragraph 5 that these 3 levels correspond to 3 levels in Hashem's way Hashem creates the world. That this first level is the vessels. What is the vessels?
The contractions.
Yeah.
That there's like an infinite, and then he makes a finite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it says in general the light. In general, Hashem creates everything through the light because the light is similar to the luminary. And we said just like Hashem is